Hi, Fashionista fam out there. Today we are going to chat about the making of the Beyond the Streets curated video. I've been getting tons of requests from you pop art lovers to dive deeper into the story behind the photos in this collection. In this episode, we'll talk about the history of pop culture and how it's reshaped Western society through our shared experiences with TV and radio. This curated video is both educational and entertaining as it is a celebration of graffiti's core ethos of an innate desire for mark making and challenging authority. By its nature, graffiti is ephemeral. Its own existence is temporary, but the culture and its rebellious spirit prevails. So let's jump right into this episode and explore those memories together. This curated collection features photographs capturing social political events from the 1970s onwards. Beyond the Streets Curated pays tribute to monumental moments in pop culture, spotlighting street graffiti, street art, hip hop, punk rock, and the musicians and artists who immortalize these moments. From painting trains to social activism, from the clothes we wear to the soundtracks of our lives, these cultural narratives transformed public perception of underground art and culture, sparking a global creative revolution. When we arrived at the art gallery, we were amazed to find that the Urban Reality Archive workers had put together an extraordinary pop culture exhibition. The exhibition had completely transformed every corner of the free floor Saatchi gallery. Our focus was to capture significant moments in the history of the pop art community through photography. Being able to witness the progress that has been made and celebrate the pivotal moments in pop culture history which have challenged traditional perspectives in British society was truly a privilege for us. Now, let's delve into what our curation of urban life includes, as well as our collective experiences of how these moments unfolded through television and radio transmissions. We were immediately captivated by the illegal graffiti art that emerged in the 1970s New York and the equally astonishing footage captured by the London Underground's British Transport Police CCTV, showcasing these illicit activities. The inclusion of this art form in this creative video is significant due to the influence of British news reporting on the severity of graffiti on British trains and its connection to American train graffiti. During the early 1970s, graffiti was remarked by news broadcasters as intolerant and antisocial behavior, leading to deterrents such as borstal imprisonment for young offenders, along with permanent blacklisting in the notorious Blacklist book. As we delved deeper into the history of graffiti, we discovered that this art form was not merely an act of vandalism, but a powerful means of expression for marginalized youth. In New York, graffiti became a voice for those who felt disenfranchised. It was their way to claim visibility in a society that often ignored them. The vibrant tags and murals that adorned subway cars and city walls were more than just rebellious acts. They were declarations of identity and resistance. Similarly, in London, the graffiti scene evolved as a response to the social political climate of the time. The footage from the British Transport Police CCTV not only documented the illicit illegal activities, but also captured the raw energy and creativity of the artists. These young individuals, often from underprivileged backgrounds, use graffiti to challenge the status quo and make their mark on the urban landscape. By the late 1970s, right wing newspapers continued to condemn graffiti as foolish and malicious vandalism. As youngsters, we were puzzled by the rebellious individuals who risked imprisonment and even death by speeding trains to create what seemed like subpar artwork on train track walls. However, over time, we began to suspect that graffiti might be a form of expression for the disenfranchised. We now know that the social political landscape of the 1970s was marked by significant upheaval and change, influenced by the rising popularity of social political music and fashion, such as punk rock and hip hop. Graffiti began to be seen as a voice for those marginalized by society. These cultural movements often carried messages of rebellion against the establishment, anti capitalism, and calls for social justice. Graffiti artists use their work to challenge the status quo, making bold statements on public walls and trains as a form of protest. In cities like New York, graffiti became intertwined with the burgeoning hip hop culture, which itself was a response to the social economic struggles faced by African American and Latino communities. The art form provided a way for these communities to express their frustrations and aspirations in a public and visible manner. Similarly, in the UK, the punk movement saw graffiti as a means to voice dissent against political and social norms. Heavily influenced by authorities, we initially misinterpreted these acts as mere frills of subversion. At a glance, it seemed that using paint to create images on buildings and trains was a novice attempt to rebel against restrictive powers or simply a result of substance abuse. However, over time, it became evident that graffiti was more than just vandalism. It was a powerful tool for social commentary and a reflection of the turbulent times. Be right back straight after this break. It wasn't until we saw the spray painted "No to the poll tax" on the gallery display board that memories of the 1990s poll tax riots in Trafalgar Square came flooding back. These riots were among the most notable and violent protests in Britain. Watching fellow comrades being beaten down with batons by the police on television was terrifying and horrifying to see. The poll tax was highly controversial, leading to widespread protests and civil disobedience. The riots stemmed from the increased burden on the poor, as low income houses saw their local tax bills rise dramatically due to flat rate taxes, while wealthier individuals often saw their tax bills decrease. The poll tax riots occurred not far from where we worked, our busy 40-hour per week full time jobs. At the time, we didn't fully grasp the extent of the issue because we were constantly working and struggling through in house training courses. However, we began to understand its impact when we found our low wages couldn't cover the poll tax. We felt the brunt of the poll tax hardest on our lowly paid working class wages. And to add insult to injury, there was no sign of eligibility for a rebate. The public backlash eventually forced the government to replace the poll tax with the council tax, which allowed us workers in due course to repay the tax in installments. The inclusion of Malcolm McLaren's display card photo was fascinating. It shed light on his London roots and the diverse array of professions he dabbled in before emerging as a quintessential pop cultural artist. It might sound unbelievable, but McLaren's resume reads like a wild ride through creative expression. He wore many hats: visual artist, fashion designer, music composer, producer, art director, band manager, shop conceptualist, writer, screenwriter, film producer, film director, singer, actor, philosopher, marketing guru, and even politician. All these skills fueled his creative energy, leading him to shape what he famously described as the look of music and the sound of fashion. And oh, how we got swept up in that aesthetic whirlwind known as punk rock. Remember those long, spiky, brilliant colored hairdos? The girls with laddered stockings and miniskirts, while the boys rocked skinny leg slacks. And let's not forget the gender neutral obligatory Dr. Martin boots. Those iconic footwear choices that screamed rebellion. Walking down the King's Road or Oxford Street, punk rockers turned heads. Tourists stumbled over each other, desperate to capture these living works of art on film. But the punk rockers were nobody's fools. They knew their worth and cheekily demanded payment for every snapshot. Although the 1970s was a vibrant and eclectic decade for fashion, characterized by a fusion of comfort, creativity, self expression, but punk rock fashion possibly epitomized the embracement of postmodernist theory. The curated video features photos of the Sex Pistols for a compelling reason. Malcolm McLaren managed this groundbreaking punk group. They were trailblazers, the first to openly use expletives and make controversial statements on daytime television. Their audacity caught widespread attention in 1976, leading to their record label EMI dropping them. But their music and rebellious attitude ignited the punk movement in the UK. Be right back straight after this break. Now, let's focus on that intriguing McLaren Duck Rock boombox, also known as a ghetto blaster. It symbolizes a pivotal moment in British hip hop history. McLaren's interest in the hip hop scene led him to produce the mega popular track Buffalo Girls in 1982, a fusion of hip hop beats and folk influences. He later included it in his 1983 album Duck Rock. And here's the magic. The music video for the Buffalo Girls, televised on Top of the Pops, showcased the vibrant transformation. In this video, graffiti artists adorned canvases with colorful graffiti artwork, demonstrating how the art form had evolved. It was a visual feast, a testament to the intersection of music, street culture, and rebellious creativity. The Buffalo Girls video was a game changer. It didn't just rock the streets of Britain, it shook up the entire UK and beyond. Hip hop, with its dancing, rapping, and unmistakable fashion, burst onto the scene, and suddenly, urban black community music had a spotlight. Picture this: MTV, typically a rock orientated channel, raised an eyebrow but eventually made room for something groundbreaking. Yo MTV Raps. This hip hop program infiltrated the airways, rubbing shoulders with the usual lineup of squeaky clean pop wannabes. It was like inviting the cool kids to crash the party, the ones who knew how to break dance, spit rhymes, and flaunt street style, huh? And guess what? Yo MTV Raps paved the way. It became the bridge that connected hip hop to mainstream audiences in the late 80s. Suddenly, Public Enemy, Run DMC, NWA, Tupac Shakur, The Notorious B.I.G., Wu Tang Clan, LL Cool J, and Ice T weren't just names, they were the architects of a cultural revolution. Their beats, their lyrics, their swagger, they shaped the legacy of Yo MTV Raps and thrust hip hop culture into the spotlight. Be right back straight after this break. Public Enemy's photo in this video isn't just a snapshot, it's a time capsule. Their politically charged lyrics reverberate beyond beats and rhymes. Fight the Power became an anthem, challenging systemic injustice, as well as KRS track Sound of the Police, dissected racial profiling and unequal treatment. Absolutely. The inclusion of Public Enemy's photo in this video serves as a powerful reminder, a sonic and visual time capsule. Let's break it down. Number one, the soundtrack of resistance. Public Enemy, with their politically charged lyrics, didn't just make music, they ignited a movement. Fight the Power became an anthem, a call to arms against systemic injustice. When Chuck D rapped, Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant me, he wasn't just talking about music, he was dissecting cultural appropriation and racial bias. And Sound of the Police, it wasn't just beats, it was a critique of racial profiling, police brutality, and the unequal treatment faced by black communities. Number two, resonance and solidarity. Those thought provoking lyrics, they cut through complacency. They made us question authority, privilege, and power structures. Comrades united by shared experiences listened and nodded. They knew that color discrimination wasn't a distant concept, it was woven into everyday life. In Britain, as elsewhere, black and ethnic minorities fought for racial equality. They demanded justice, education, and representation. And yes, a collective unifying political ideology was essential. Number three, the beat of change. Public Enemy's beats weren't just rhythms, they were the pulse of activism. They reminded us that music isn't neutral, it can be a weapon or a bomb. So, when you see that photo, remember the power of art. Remember that hip hop wasn't just entertainment, it was a megaphone for truth. And you're right. The path to equality requires collective action. It's about dismantling systems, amplifying voices, and standing shoulder to shoulder. So let's keep listening, keep learning, and keep fighting for the power to change, for justice, and for a world where equality isn't just a dream, but a reality. Be right back straight after this break.
Graffiti Planet and Street Art are important books to see the best urban art and graffiti from around the world. These two fully updated edited books are compiled and introduced by world-renowned Ket, whose photography and graffiti artwork career began at the tender age of 15, when he started taking photographs of striking subway train graffiti in Brooklyn. You can read more about Ket's illustrious career on www.mambook's.com.
The intersection of London and New York hip hop fashion and resilience. In the vivid snapshots of our past, there exists a room adorned with the vibrant tapestry of hip hop fashion. These images etched into memory were not mere photographs, they were frames plucked from the Yo MTV rap television show, the very pulse of an era. Within those frames, we found ourselves captivated by the Adidas tracksuits, the uniform of break dancers and lyrical poets. The tracksuits, in their iconic three stripes, were more than fabric, they were a statement, a rhythm that moved with every spin and pop, paired seamlessly with legendary Adidas superstar trainers. They became our aspiration, our emblem of cool. Yet, reality tempered our dreams. We, the lowly paid workers, could not afford the full ensemble. The tracksuits remained elusive, hanging tantalizingly out of reach. But resilience, like a quiet beat, guided us. We scraped together every spare coin, pooling our meager resources until we could finally claim a pair of Adidas trainers, a tangible connection to the rhythm of the streets. And then there was the Kangol bucket hat, a nod to the pioneers who wore it with a swagger. It sat atop our heads, shielding us from both rain and judgment. We couldn't afford the oversized jewellery that adorned the stars, but Petticoat Lane Market offered a compromise. Full gold chains that glimmered just enough to catch the light. Our jackets became canvases, an urban gallery where graffiti met identity. Our sound system logos blazed across the back, announcing our presence in the underground. Each stitch carried our swag, the fusion of hip hop style and our own narratives. We weren't imitating, we were remixing a symphony of resilience and creativity. In the 1980s, British hip hop fashion became a powerful expression of cultural identity for migrant workers and a way to navigate the fast paced urban landscape. It went beyond being just a trend. It was a survival mechanism that allowed individuals to stay connected to their roots while embracing the vibrant energy of their new environment. Walking down the bustling streets of London, you would often see people sporting headphones attached to their Sony Walkman portable cassette players, fully immersed in the sounds of hip hop. These beats and rhymes from across the Atlantic united us with the New York City hip hop scene, and together these two iconic cities became synonymous with the essence of hip hop culture. The fusion of our unique cultural backgrounds with the global phenomenon of hip hop created a sense of belonging and community amid a bustling metropolis. It was more than just a fashion statement, it was a symbol of resilience and determination to embrace who we were while navigating a new world. Through our style, we were able to tell our stories, celebrate our heritage, and connect with others who shared similar experiences. British hip hop fashion in the 1980s became a powerful tool for self expression and a means to forge our cultural identity while embracing the influences from across the pond. Those who walked the streets of London during this time would witness a vibrant display of fashion that blended traditional elements with contemporary urban style. It was a visual representation of the diverse cultural backgrounds woven into the fabric of the city. The constant soundtrack of hip hop flowing through our Walkmans provided the rhythm to our daily lives, connecting us to a larger movement happening thousands of miles away. The fashion and music were intertwined, creating a powerful cultural force that transcended borders and brought people together. Be right back straight after this break. Gallery versus street. It's a pity that galleries and museums really embrace graffiti. Maybe they fear its rawness, its unfiltered truth. But wait, the aesthetics, it seeped into mainstream art. Other artists borrow its energy, its edge. So let's start a conversation, right? Impressive provocation. Graffiti isn't subtle, it's a visual punch. When you see a massive mural on a brick wall, it stops you in your tracks. And guess what? It's politically charged. Those colors and shapes, they are whispers of dissent, echoes of justice. 1970s roots. Back in the 1970s, graffiti emerged as a social political force. It mirrored cultural shifts, challenged norms, and shouted, "We are here." From subway cars to city walls, it was a canvas of rebellion. Be right back straight after this break. Why did these photos make the final cut? Let's count down the essence of why those photos made the cut in this curated video. Influential lived experiences. Each photo wasn't just pixels, it was a slice of collective memory. We handpicked moments that resonated, whether it was punk rocker's spiky hair or a civil rights march. These images represented pivotal times, cultural shifts, and societal awakenings. They weren't mere snapshots, they were chapters in our shared narrative. Television and radio impact. Some photos were like echoes from the past. Remember when TV and radio shaped our worldview? Those influential moments, the moon landing, a historic speech, a groundbreaking concept, they all left their mark. By including these visuals, we celebrated the power of media. It wasn't just entertainment, it was a force that normalized trends and ignited conversations. Fashionable youth trends. Fashion isn't frivolous, it's a language. So those vintage outfits, they weren't just threads, they were statements. A punk safety pins, a disco diva sequence, they spoke volumes. Those trends weren't isolated, they wove into our collective consciousness. Suddenly, neon windbreakers and bell bottoms weren't just clothes, they were cultural signposts. Contextual release order. Here's the twist: we flipped the order. Context first, video last. Why? So viewers could marinate in the vibe. The why behind each photo mattered. It's like reading the preface before diving into the novel. Contextual breadcrumbs leading to a visual feast. In summary, our photo selection wasn't arbitrary, it was deliberate storytelling. Each image whispered, "Remember this?" And collectively, they painted a canvas of memory, a gallery where everyone had a front row seat. Here it is, the complete curated concept for the creation of the Beyond the Street curated video. Make sure to note it down. The Beyond the Streets creative video will be released on the Windrush Fashionista channel next week. Prepare yourself for captivating visuals that will make you think. And hey, remember to subscribe, like, and leave a comment because graffiti is more than just art. It's an opportunity for dialogue. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day. Farewell and goodbye.